First Lieutenant Carlos Federico Dominguez Lacreu was head of a company in the 25th Infantry Regiment in the Falklands. His face became famous when he was included in a British documentary about the war, making a quite eloquent gesture to those who had taken him prisoner.
I was the commander of Company A, Regiment 25, which occupied the entire length of the airport runway. We did not fight, we endured. Constant naval gunfire, relentless bombardment. I'm not sure which was worse. We were also subjected to the psychological pressure of delayed action bombs. This is how they worked. An aircraft would fly over and drop 2 or 3 bombs. One would explode immediately. The others would bury themselves in the ground and detonate hours later. The danger was constant, always present. Once those bombs burrowed into the soil, locating them was nearly impossible. All we could do was hold on and keep preparing. Until the British landing at San Carlos, we believed the main assault would come at the airport. The only area with wide open beaches suitable for a large-scale landing. The regimental commander prepared us mentally for that eventual attack. But it never came. I had never imagined the Falklands War would be like this. Not at all. I thought I would be on the front line, like Regiments 7, 4, and 3, able to fight. I never imagined I would end up where I did, in what later became the rear guard. It was a hard day. Still, there were moments of humor, brief, unexpected flashes amid the tension. Unfortunately, I could barely enjoy them. Command leaves little room for laughter. I had 148 men under my command, and above me, in that sector, no one. The regimental commander oversaw everything and visited daily, but he had his own position to hold. I experienced what, in military terms, is called the loneliness of command. The company commander is the one man who cannot afford to relax, joke, or lose focus. Still, I could see the good spirits of my men, and that gave me strength. I will never forget May 1st. Around 4 in the afternoon, the frigates began bombarding us with everything they had. Then our Mirages appeared and dove straight at them. My men leapt from their trenches, cheering, waving their arms, celebrating as if they were at a football match. Fear and joy mixed together. A company commander feels toward his men as a father feels toward his family. Other people's lives depend equally on his successes and his mistakes. He trembles at the thought of losing one of them. Thank God none of mine were killed, only wounded. We dug until our hands bled. From the commander who grabbed a pick and shovel without hesitation, down to the last private, everyone dug his own position. The lieutenant colonel supervised closely. Each day I inspected the works and checked the fortifications. While many believed the British would never come, he knew a battle was inevitable and prepared us accordingly. My soldiers were exceptional. One moment says it all. There is a bomb designed specifically to destroy runways. Its fuse is in the rear, not the nose. When it strikes, it drills about 6 meters into the ground before exploding, creating a crater 6 meters wide in rock or concrete. At 5 in the morning on May 4th, a string of these bombs fell across our sector. A high-altitude Vulcan bomber seemed determined to take the runway out permanently. We were deployed every 40 meters along the strip, but the pilot missed the runway. His bombs fell directly onto our positions. When the bombing stopped, I requested reports from my section leaders. The same reassuring phrase came back from each position. No news! But it wasn't true. In second section, 2 men were missing. We went after them. If they had been killed, we would have to recover what remained, wrap it in a blanket, load it onto a truck, anything to spare their comrades the shock of discovering body parts at dawn. I ordered the search teams to report back before first light. After a while, they called me. The 2 had been found stunned, bleeding, covered in dust, but alive. They had been blown clear and buried under debris, bruised, furious, shaken, but alive. We sent them to the regimental doctor who examined them and sent them on to the hospital. Later, another report came in. My first lieutenant, we hear screams underground. Underground screams could only mean one thing. Dig, I ordered. Find whatever is there and get it out. If they're wounded, take them to the hospital immediately. We all expected the worst, but a miracle had occurred. The lip of the crater, the earth thrown up by the explosion, had collapsed over their foxhole, which was a double pit. The blast slammed them against the edge, but also sealed off air pockets. When we pulled them out, they were deaf, dazed, furious, and terrified, poor bastards, but alive, bruised everywhere, even in spirit. The regimental doctor confirmed there were no penetrating wounds and sent them to the hospital. 4 days later, the two returned to the company, proud as could be. We're fine, sir. We're rejoining the regiment. They were barely trained soldiers. 2 months of instruction, no more. Throughout the war, we were almost never moved from the airport. No repositioning. No reorganization of the defensive line. We endured weeks of immobility, tension, and waiting. Only on the night of June 13th to 14th were 2 sections sent to block the British advance west of Moody Brook, by then unstoppable. When they arrived, the units they were to support had already withdrawn. Then came June 14th. The order arrived, it was over. Lieutenant Colonel Seneldin had wanted to sever communications with Puerto Argentino and make a stand at the airport, to resist, not surrender. Our position was separated from the town by an isthmus. What failed us Argentines? Perhaps foresight, perhaps the simple truth that we were not prepared for war, as every soldier must be. The moment you choose this profession, you must be ready to fight the next day. When the question arose, should we fight to the last man rather than surrender, there were 2 answers. The one given by Dominguez Lacreu, the man, and the one given by First Lieutenant Dominguez Lacreu. As a man, I believed we should have held out until only one soldier remained. Flag in one hand, bayonet in the other. As an officer, I answered differently. Has our troops been trained for years like our attackers, kept combat ready, properly equipped? Then perhaps. But that was not our reality. On the 15th, Seineldin ordered us to turn in our weapons. We dismantled them, unloaded the rifles, removed bolts, pistons, essential parts, and threw everything into the sea. What troubled me most was how the surrender had been handled the day before. Some men approached broken, defeated. So I formed the company on the runway, gathered the section commanders, and issued a final order. We would march with our heads high at double time, like soldiers. We were ordered to hand over our weapons, but we had not been defeated. As I dismissed the formation, I turned and saw British guards and journalists standing behind me, listening. My blood boiled. I walked away, furious. Then I turned back toward their cameras and shouted, "Me los meto en el culo por ustedes!" Or as I said it in English, "I'll shove them up my ass for you." And I gave them the corte de manga. I never imagined they would leave it in the film. What followed hardly matters. British soldiers grabbed me and roughed me up briefly, but my men reacted instantly. 2 or 3 stepped forward, ready to fight. Unsure whether our weapons still worked, the British backed off. I kept walking. They were the ones who stayed angry. I later learned they had included the scene in one of their films. I only saw it years afterward, during a war college course. My wife's comment was simple: "What a crude piece of work." Anyone who endured the frustration, rage, and helplessness we lived through would have done the same. We were outmatched, but we were not cowards. They never fought us head-on. They advanced only after overwhelming us with artillery. Take Major Castañeda's commando patrol. They gave the British their first real scare. The enemy dropped weapons, radios, packs, everything, and ran. We do not feel defeated.